Hey guys, my name is Anthony and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you my track guide in wet conditions at Hanoi. So if you want to see more track guides similar to this, make sure to hit the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel. I know it's been quite a while since I've done one of these, but I had a race recently at Hanoi in my league race at WOR, and it was at Hanoi and it was in wet conditions, so I thought this would be, you know, the perfect time to actually get myself acquainted with how to actually drive around in the wet, because I didn't practice in the wet conditions for that race and it sort of messed me up a little bit. I did drive pretty well, but at the same time, you know, I felt as if I could have done better. So coming up to the final corner now, you want to be in 4th gear, and then you want to turn just before you get to this black box. Start turning pretty much where the sort of dry line is turning in for you. And then as you're coming out of this exit here, you want to start applying pressure on the throttle, and then short shift up to 5th gear, and then you can start going and your lap has started. So moving on to the first corner now. In 7th gear actually, just in between the curb on the right hand side and the 100-meter board. If you can't see it during the race, then just try and look at the 100-meter board. If it's in full wet conditions, it is going to be pretty hard if you're behind somebody. This track, in my opinion, is quite difficult if you're behind somebody in wet conditions, but still you should be able to see the 100-meter board. Brake just before it, down into 2nd gear, and then as you're turning in towards the corner, one last downshift into 1st, and then short shift back up to 3rd. Put maybe about 40% on the throttle, and then lift off slightly and then back on the throttle a little bit, just so that you don't cause wheel spin around here. In 3rd gear this entire way through, and then just like you would in dry conditions, right before this white line that signifies the end of the pit lane exit, that's where you want to start braking. You do a little tap on the brakes, and then one downshift into 2nd, and then as you're coming into this corner, right back up to 3rd. And then you sort of do want to ride over this curb. It is a little bit more difficult to do in wet conditions, but you can still do it. It just opens up the exit for this. And then you want to short shift just to minimize wheel spin and get the best traction that you can. And then we're coming up to the end of sector 1. So for the end of sector 1, beginning of sector 2, right before the 100-meter board here, right around about here, start braking in 8th gear, down into 4th. And then as you're coming into the corner, you still want to have a little bit of the brakes going on just to get the car slowed down a little bit more. Down 1 gear into 3rd, right over this curb, and then right over this curb in 3rd gear still. And then just press the throttle a little bit, and then let go. Just let the car rotate around the corner, and then apply throttle. Try not to hit that curb on the inside. Short shift again to minimize wheel spin, and we come up to what's arguably probably the new longest straight on the entire calendar. This straight is pretty long, but yeah, this you pretty much just want to stick on the inside here as much as you can, just to get the shortest distance to the next corner. And coming up to the next corner in 8th gear, just at the 100-meter board, or just right after the 100-meter board, brake down into 2nd. Now, depending on how much you brake here, depends on what gear you can go in this corner. Sometimes I take it in 2nd, but also sometimes I take it in 1st. I think 2nd is a little bit better just to, again, to minimize the wheel spin, but you can go into 1st if you want. Make sure to continue short shifting, just again to minimize wheel spin. And then coming up to the end of sector 2, beginning of sector 3, just after the 100-meter board, in 7th, brake down into 3rd. And then you can either miss or ride over that curb. I guess it doesn't really matter which one you do here, but if you want to get as much traction as possible, I'd say to miss it. And this section here is really just about feeling how the car is behaving. In 5th gear, sort of go close to the curb there. Go close to the curb here without touching it in 5th gear again, or in 4th gear. Then shift down to 4th gear for this corner, sort of ride over that curb or just about miss it. You either want to ride over these curbs or completely miss it in wet conditions. In 4th gear again, and then right before the silver pole on the right hand side, that's when you want to brake. Down into 2nd, miss this curb. Try and miss this curb on exit, short shift up to 4th gear, again right before the black box. Turn in 4th gear, and then short shift up to 5th gear, and that is a lap at Hanoi. So I'm going to showcase the hot lap that I've got in the title of this video. It's not the best hot lap, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's not the best one, but it should be good enough to showcase how to get around the track. And then we'll move into the setup that I actually used in that race at Hanoi. So I'll see you guys at the setup.
last lap was a...
Okay guys, so moving on to the setup that I actually used in the race. Aerodynamics, you want to have 4.8. You can go, I guess, 3.8 or maybe even 5.8, I don't know. But for me personally, I used 4.8 in this race. Transmission, I used 50% and 60%, I believe, or maybe I used 55 and 60, I can't remember which one. For the suspension, pretty much right, left, and then for the suspension, you want to go 2.4, 5.8, and then 2.4. You could also go 3.5 just to give the car a little bit more ride height because it is wet conditions, so you don't want the car to be super low to the ground. It's completely up to you which one you do. And then 96, and I used 52. However, I was recommended by one of the other drivers to just leave the front brake bias at 50. And then for the tires, I've gone 21.8 and 19.9, pretty much the same as in dry conditions. So I'm not sure if you could maybe put these a little bit lower in wet conditions. When it comes to wet conditions and tire pressures, I'm not 100% sure on them yet, so I just leave them at whatever my dry condition tire pressure is. So if you want to see more videos similar to this, again, make sure to hit the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video.